Connecticut schools communicated recorded roles with evidence fabrication methods using their students, with all age groups of innocence connected to it. For example, the way they have their students later and actively connected to elderly homes and to each branch of government with roles with needs to cover up standardized evidence fabrication methods connected to these cases, and to passions pretending that hurt and pretended anger against the perpetrators who might not even be real perpetrators, and in relationship to the systemic evidence fabrication, causations, natures. In other words, we don't have fast treatments allowed. We have basic laws. Someone has to make a report. They don't let it. Not only do they not let people make reports, they pretend they couldn't understand them. They pretend them to fake body language. They pretend them to fake language categorically to cover up lie progressions in relationship to all that's actually connected to police abusing the nature for the right to lie and the needs to lie in relationship to their forced, originally shared internation police prostrations, colonization was a method before England that had them to tear database relationships too. So when America first fought in the Revolutionary War, people in England cheered because even their kings and queens and their people were extorted by the same inter-science problems. It's a method of evidence fabrication. And it's with the courts. It's with each branch. The courts, all legal natures, are predatory litigation nature in relationship to this, in relationship to methods in their mind, physical lies and delusions, connected to justifying evidence, breaking rules like not allowing writing with charges and pretending there was writing there wasn't, and typing lies into databases. So that, in other words, these computers are bringing up and are now attached to what was worse. Was for old school when they didn't have computers and technology, they made up even more. They can't get away with what they're doing now, so they're making problems with the nature of the policing of the campuses and the sensibilities in relationship to the topic containment, like of women. In other words, we have systematic. In other words, child abuse acts and natures would have been prevented had I been allowed to make a complaint related to related confessions, and then the guys in the media. I was arrested. God knows what they wrote for responding to threats against particular kids in relationship to grammar schools involved with it, per them first, in recorded proofs, and God knows what they wrote. There's people sharing names with this. In other words, per methods. In other words, by sharing names while they're slandering the people who need to make the complaint. In other words, there's interbranch actors who are facilitated to needs to cover up lie progressions in relationship to systemic evidence fabrication methods with our branches and with their intercity connections with the streets that nobody realizes. In other words, that's why they're not responding to me, because I'm going to reveal this, because they affected so many confessions to me for some strangers based on their relationships with lie progressions that were used to facilitate states of needing to cover up lie progressions in relationship to federal investigations before they even came. For example, with 9/11, attaching me to fake conversations about 9/11, about, as a witness that was in the context right before the attack, and proven in the federal court next to the Trade Center in the New York part of the attack, post-dated court documents to appear late that day in 9/11, but later proven that they were hand-delivered on time, and then post-dated inside the court to appear late, and related to a 2006 case with related confessions tied to the Central Connecticut Police and their relationships to other police forms in the area, and with methods with them database stacking lies, and with the court not allowing people to talk and writing lies consciously, and how, and the motivations for it, and confessions related to that. See, what they're doing with this is trying to make everything out of sequence and say this is the past. But they've been holding me in court with every time, charging me every time with lies and delusions, admitting them. Every time I try to do this, charging me with something else, pretending, whatever truth they hear, they attach a lie to it, because they already had all these strangers come up to me with related body dumping confessions, police with drugs and prostitution, verified by them, with evidence fabrication roles, abuses of women with strippers and with hookers next to colleges in intercity with different police departments, and how they share those with motivations and needs to lie with Central Connecticut State Police, who admitted roles to this too, recorded with evidence fabrications, threat, and criminal uses of students as affected, in other words, as tool reaction natures, and with the media as a tool reaction nature, and with the students of the media. So they have them covering live progressions and fake credibility towards type and exploitations of all these types of industries connected to the campus threats, science problems. We have systematic lies and delusions methodically left in place because they're reliant upon natures of fraud. In other words, the lies they tell to themselves and others, they're reliant upon sick American history only being standardized. Because now we have lies and delusions to only normalize logic, so they can get away with pretending that regular people are telling lies while they're evidence fabricating and not letting them have a voice, and forcing them to before courts that are criminally involved with this, with the street beforehand and with the campuses beforehand, per them and per recorded proofs. So Central Connecticut State University, they have roles, for example, with related child abuse, actively, and with related child abusers, actively, and with needs, even though they punish them, and with prison people too connected to it, actively. In other words, since before 2000, they were being seeded into needed lies, needed motivations to tell lies, systemic, in other words, for evidence fabrications, murderously, all kinds of different police forms combined with our campuses. And then we have agencies with families members with related perjury roles and threats and abuses against natures of child abuse. So we need to deal with facts. But see, people aren't allowed to report facts. In other words, we have systematic mistreatments of the process of investigations being used just to hurt people they can prove for real or make up that did crimes. In other words, to keeping a nature of treatment of policing as an evidence fabrication nature, progressing, evidence, lie progressions and methods to blame those things on other things so they can claim fake credibility. And that's too in relationship to how we were forced to share terror policing infrastructure and colonial laws, terror laws, not just with slavery, against everyone, against even categorically against the Native Americans, dividing them into these linguistic fields we lost to. Evidence fabrication methods with words and with facts treatments. So CCSU and Trinity College have also two deans with recorded proofs with identity switching stuff in relationship to the roles with uncharged evidence fabrications and abuses of children, not only in the college, but in other grades in relationship to the evidence fabrication methods and natures that are being self-defended, and how. Leaning on experts, we need to get all the experts' names. We like a court investigator with professions tied to him in relationship to this, and other people with roles with live progressions in conjunction with a former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and past defendants of his in a case that was never finished. In other words, they had extortion, evidence fabrication, motivations, and roles with that tied to CCSU and to Trinity College roles with the databases, with the roles with the court stacking lies and databases per them. So, in other words, and this is with their roles with sick natures of child abuse through the games, through the minds of kids, consciously pretending they have credibility and have morality, and forcing conversations in theater, pretending they do in relationship to sick natures of crime that shouldn't even be before the kids, but they're using the kids in the campuses for the maintenance of their own life progressions, interbranch families, not by accident. So when someone asks to make a complaint, especially online, that's where you do it. Because then now everything's on, no, even if it's, then everything's recorded. See, but what they're trying to do is record traps and tricks to cover up mistreatments of what's really going on, what's really behind all these threats. You got fear for the CCSU, the men and the women. There's a systematic, in other words, this is not just that tied to that court alone with the convention. They have street connections with confessions and police forms with the courts facilitating evidence fabrications and using methods that nobody realizes because nobody has real facts treatments left. So you could just say that you want to make a report, and the laws are so that people are supposed to take it, but they just lie about what has to do because, in other words, if it's not active, there are recorded proofs too that natures of child abuse that are active would have been, and acts that happened were later arrested for it, that they would have been prevented. There were recorded proofs of that too, but they can't admit it because of the way they lied in relationship to other cases. They have nothing to do with it because they're using everybody as tool evidence fabrication natures, as tool hurt conviction natures to all areas. So we have mistreatments of the facts. This is why we lost with the war on poverty. It's not by accident. It's with intercity to the maintenance of life progressions in relationship to all that, which really keeps politics and logic contained, incapable of countering the enemy that we had since before founding, our nation's founding. They had more sophistication than we do now with facts treatments and with understanding of our relationships to terror databases only let realized and how terror facts mistreatments. In other words, education, sciences facilitating delusions and lies and guises with science. They're incapable. If we take the time to actually look, it's how they're juxtaposed with interests that are combined with the needs of the nature of the stewards of the campuses to lie in conjunction with background investigators of such involved with this. In other words, they're just spreading rumors in the background in fields of communications that we're missing, and it's all wrought with lies, with evidence fabrication, motivation so long that they're covering up live aggressions because there's federal investigations related to it. For example, they attached me to fake conversations about 9/11 and attach other witnesses to fake witness testimonies about and since with language since. So in other words, when someone tries to investigate them doing that, they'll make up lies. They have database stacking. They have an illusion world with interbranch databases, and this it's not by accident, and it's in conjunction with motivations of individual stewards with needs that know what lies they told, misdirecting in federal investigations because their own personal needs, not to have what it's actually been staying with the housing with CCSU and with Trinity for so long, and with gangland juxtapositions with each branch stewards. God help us.